Good morning, everyone. Come on in, find your seats, make yourselves comfortable. Welcome to Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. I'm so happy to see you all this morning, all drifting in, sitting down, and welcome to those of you online this morning as well. I'm Reverend Mary Murray Shelton. I'm the community spiritual leader here, and I'm happy to see you all and welcome you. We are a spiritual community that's part of Centers for Spiritual Living. And what we're focused on is creating a world that works for everyone, which sounds impossible, but think how wonderful that would be. So it's always good to aim at something that is larger than what you think you can reach, because it takes you so much further than you thought you would be able to go. So that's what we're doing. And everyone that walks in the door is welcome here. I consider you to be here by divine appointment, so thank you for keeping your appointment. And I want to invite you now to take a moment to stand up, walk around the room, greet each other, welcome people, introduce yourselves to those you haven't met, and just generally make each other welcome. And those of you online, give yourselves a big hug. Get yourself a cup of tea or coffee. Get ready to join us this morning, and we'll be right back with the opening song in just a few minutes. All right. I so love this period on Sunday morning when you're greeting one another, because what happens is it starts off very quietly as everybody stands up and looks around like, what am I going to do now? And then as people see each other and connect with each other, the noise level goes up and the noise level goes up. And that's how I know that you're really saying hello to each other. And just about the time you get deeply into those conversations, it's time for me to call you back. So here we are. We have Nathan Aswell back with us this morning on our morning music video. And he is a recording artist and speaker, singer-songwriter located in Vancouver, BC. So I met Nathan when I was a minister up there. And he believes in encouraging people to live big lives, one small step at a time. So he does want you to know Wednesday mornings at 9 on his Facebook page. He does a live chant, insight, contemplative silence, and you're welcome to join him online at 9 Pacific on his Facebook page. I'm going to invite you to stand up right now as we get ready to sing the opening song, which is called, this is a Karen Drucker song actually, it's called More Equals Give. So here we go with Nathan.
Warm greetings, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be with you this morning at Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. In honor of Reverend Mary's theme this month, following the sacred spiral of spirit, and of her theme today, using our gifts, I'd like to kick things off with a great song by Karen Drucker called More Equals Give. If you want more love, give love. If you want more joy, give joy. If you want more peace, give peace. If you want more, give. If you want more, give. If you want more money, give. give of your money. If you want more time, give of your time. If you want more friends, be a friend. And if you want more, give. If you want more, give. When you give, you receive. It's as simple as that. There's no effort, no struggle. It's just a simple fact. If you want to see a change, be the change. If you want to have more truth, tell your truth. If you want more gratitude, give thanks. If you want more, give. And if you want more, give. When you give, you receive. It's as simple as that. There's no effort, no struggle. It's just a simple fact. If you want more love, got to give love. If you want more joy, got to give that joy. If you want more peace, got to give peace. If you want more, you got to give. If you want more, you got to give. If you want more, you got to give. If you want more, you got to give.
Give yourselves a hand. You did well catching on to that. Yeah, sounds nice. So go ahead and silence your cell phones now so we don't have any noisy interruptions. You know, if you put it on vibrate and you suddenly jump and yell, you know, we'll know. We won't think that your chair is electrified or anything like that. So feel free, but just turn the sound off so the rest of us aren't jumping at the same time. And we're going to turn within now and prepare for our morning prayer, which is, let's see, who's my practitioner? Is it Leslie? It's Leslie. My morning practitioner is Leslie Giannetti, and she's going to come up and do the opening for us right now. Come on, Leslie. Well, I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, come on up and please pray.
Just opening up to the infinite life, which is always operating with more good. The expansive sweep of the all in all magnificent one, moving upon itself and creating out of itself and absolutely pouring itself into creation, from the invisible to the visible. This is always operating in every place and in every plane. So I speak my word for each one, and I claim an opening in consciousness for the deep realization that each one is a unique, individualized expression of the infinite life. It is the power within, the vitality, the inspiration. It is the deep inner wisdom within each one, which is always seeking greater self-expression, that the light of life itself urges and beckons each one forward, and accepting this light as the truth of being always manifests in something good and beautiful, an optimal opportunity, abundance, joy, always available, even in this moment. Right now, the infinite life is operating through each one for the greater good, and accepting this is accepting the truth of being. Even today's service, with every word that Reverend Mary speaks, is spirit-made manifest for the greater good, for love. And love is the power of creation. Love is the power of life. So accepting love is accepting the fulfillment of each individualized, perfect expression from within. So I celebrate the life within each one that calls each one forward. And I give thanksgiving for the opening that takes place in consciousness, which allows for the fullness of love and light to be manifested everywhere. And I release my word now to the law of mind, which accepts my word as a new creation, ready to be made manifest for the greater good. And so it is. Amen.
Greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. The greatest thing in all my life is knowing you. I want to know you more. I want to know thing in all my life is knowing you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. I want to love you more. I want to love you more. The greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you. I want to serve you more. I want to serve you more. The greatest thing in all my life is serving you.
So this month we've been talking about following the sacred spiral of spirit, and how when you follow a spiral or a labyrinth, if you stay on the path that takes you to the center, then once you get to the center of the spiral or the labyrinth, you become still and receive the inflow of spirit. Whatever you've released on the way in has made space, and so you receive the guidance and messages. Then you have to take them back out. So today, we're looking at using those gifts that we receive, that are given to us, that are awakened in us when we're on that hero's journey, when we're on that sacred path of the spiral or the labyrinth. You know, life sometimes just looks like chaos, yeah? And the chaos, if you can get far enough away from it, actually has patterns of beauty. There was an experiment done, it's been done several times now, where a computer was asked to plot chaos and was given some kind of chaotic something to plot, I guess. And over time, it did so, and what it created was a three-dimensional, three-winged kind of thing, but it was perfectly symmetrical and orderly. And so what it revealed to us is that at a deeper level, there is order in chaos. We just can't see it from our perspective. I would imagine that if a computer can create a three-dimensional model of chaos, then maybe the reason we don't see the larger pattern is because in human experience, it's not three dimensions, it's more than that. But we can't see them all. So it just looks like a mess to us sometimes, doesn't it? Anybody ever watch the news? It kind of makes you an expert in mess, yes? Because it's sort of constantly negative news. Whatever's on is like, what's the next thing that's going to grab your attention? And so all of the good news that's happening all over the planet is kind of, you have to go look for it because it doesn't show up in front of you very often. So when we go to the center of the labyrinth and we receive that inflow, sometimes we don't know yet what it is that we've received. It's still, we're still discovering it. And oftentimes it's so tender and so important to us and feels so precious and precarious that we're afraid to do anything for fear we'll scare it away. And so we're kind of trying to hang on to it and keep it private at the same time. It takes boldness to go ahead and begin to use a gift or an ability or quality or an intuition that we have when we haven't yet proven it. We don't yet know for sure if it's going to work. Unlike little children, a little girl is busy pounding away on her grandfather's laptop. This preschool girl. And she told her grandfather she was writing a story. He said, "That's wonderful, honey. What is it about?" She said, "I don't know. I can't read yet." This is a willingness to put a gift into practice before we actually know how it works, and it takes a certain amount of risk. But she wasn't aware of that, so she just went ahead and did it. When we're curious enough and we're not frightened, we're willing to try a lot of stuff. We're actually willing to put ourselves out there. We learn over time in our lives that curiosity that we have as kids, our parents get worried about that. They want to make sure that we're safe. That's more important than that we go out and satisfy every curiosity that we have. And that's good, but on the downside, we begin to internalize that maybe a little bit too much, so that we're very cautious about putting something out there that might cause us to feel embarrassed in some way. So sometimes we are tentative about the gifts we have. Sometimes we kind of want to keep them under wraps and keep them safe. Our founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, Ernest Holmes, wrote, "When we refuse to use our gifts, they shrivel up. The divine flow is short-circuited." So we want to be able to have the opportunity to give those gifts because we have them for a reason. They're not just for us. But we do want to protect what's vulnerable, what's precarious, what's not strong yet. You know, I talked a few weeks ago about what it's like for a young foal that's just been born. They have to struggle to get up on their feet, and it's excruciating to watch because you really want to just go over and, help somehow. But that's not a good thing. They have to find their balance themselves. It's like trying to teach somebody how to ride a bike. You can't forever run alongside of them. They're never going to learn. You have to let go at some point, and that might mean that they fall, yes? And we have to have the ability to encourage them and help them get back up again. So when we're doing it for ourselves, sometimes we are just afraid. We're afraid we're going to fail, or we're afraid we're going to make fools of ourselves. We're afraid that we might be wrong, or we might look foolish, or we might undermine whatever credibility we had up to that point, or worst of all, that we might be criticized or rejected or met with contempt with what we're trying to do. Nobody wants to have those experiences. So we tend to be careful. I can remember in college, a friend of mine I knew quite well in many ways, spent a lot of time having conversations with me before we went into this psychology class we had together. We'd sit on the floor and wait for the doors to open. We were in acting classes together. So I knew him from there, from a whole bunch of my classes. But we were outside this class waiting to go in. And I have actually known him since I was about 15, I think. And we've been having these conversations about organizations in the United States that supported LGBTQ people. And then finally, he said to me, "Well, Mary, I'm gay." And I said, "I know that." He said, "Well, why'd you make me go through all this then if you already knew?" I said, "I didn't realize you didn't know I knew. And I guess I thought you needed to do that so you'd be comfortable." So to give me all the context he thought that I would need so that I could meet, because this was in the 70s, I could meet his announcement with open-mindedness, didn't bother me at all. And as you know, I'm married to a woman now, so, that was many years ago, but he was concerned that I would still honor and respect him and hold on to him as a friend, which was never in any danger, do you see? But we don't know that when something is close to us and we feel vulnerable about sharing it or showing it. A lot of times when we have talents and gifts, this is what it feels like. We care about this thing because it means that if we put it out there, something we've created, something we treasure, something we love, and nobody else gets it, how alone are we going to feel when that happens? So it's always a risk to put something out there that feels special and tender to us. Hafiz wrote this or spoke this poem to followers. "There are so many gifts still unopened from your birthday. There are so many handcrafted presents that have been sent to you by God. The beloved," meaning God, he sometimes calls God also the friend, "the beloved does not mind repeating, 'Everything I have is also yours.' Please forgive Hafiz and the friend if we break into sweet laughter when your heart complains of being thirsty, when ages ago every cell in your soul capsized forever into this infinite golden sea. Indeed, a lover's pain is like holding one's breath too long in the middle of a vital performance, in the middle of one of creation's favorite songs. Indeed, a lover's pain is this sleeping when God just rolled over and gave you such a big good morning kiss. There are so many gifts, my dear, still unopened from your birthday. Oh, there are so many handcrafted presents that have been sent to your life from God." So these are the treasures that we carry inside of us, but they were meant to not only uplift us and enrich our lives, but to flow out and enrich and inspire the lives of other people, right? And that's the risk then that we have to take to move through that fear. Sometimes what keeps us from sharing is false humility. We know something is good. We really feel it's good. But we know that if we put it out there, it's going to look better than what some of our colleagues or friends might be doing. And we don't want to appear egotistical. We don't want to appear to be trying to outshine somebody. So we may withhold our gifts because we're holding some kind of false humility, like our friends aren't strong enough to honor their own gifts and ours, or to appreciate all of it. So we try to prevent them from having feelings that we don't even know they would necessarily have. Do you know what I mean? Anybody ever done anything like this? Ever? Yes. And so we want to look good. And so sometimes when we're not so sure of how our gift will be received, we hide it because we just don't want anybody to criticize us or not like what we have to give. And if we don't have enough self-esteem or enough confidence to attempt to put it out there, then we might never know. But also, the world will never have that gift. So when those things have been entrusted to us, it's for a reason. If we have a gift, if we have an ability, if we have an intuition, sometimes when I sit with a client and we're doing a practitioner session, something may come to mind, and I'm not quite sure what triggered it related to their situation. And I want to be able to tell them, but I think this isn't going to make any sense. And so I try not to. I just push it aside and try to go on with listening and asking questions and communicating. And this thing will bug me and bug me and bug me until I say it. So oftentimes I put a disclaimer on it. Anybody ever done that? Where I say, I'm not quite sure how this applies, but this is coming to me, and so I'm just going to go ahead and say it, and if it's useful, great. If it's not, just let it go. I'm not attached, and after I've said everything I can to, soften it in case it's insane, then I say it, and usually when I say it, the other person says, oh, that makes perfect sense to me. Great, then that was meant to be said, and all that work I did to try and keep that quiet so that I wouldn't be saying something that made no sense at all was actually something that was there for that person, not for me. And my job was to pass it on. Does this make sense? So we don't always know why we get an intuition or a feeling that it's time to say something or do something. And oftentimes, because it doesn't make sense to us, we don't put it out there. But the intention of the universe was given to us so that we could. Now, that doesn't mean just go around willy-nilly criticizing people and throwing out every thought that you have. I mean, we do have a filtering system for a reason. But if it seems to be important on some level, then by all means, make the disclaimers and give it. What makes it worth the risk to do something like that? I look at a picture like this and I want to turn it sideways so it looks like he's just leaning over on the ground, because my palms sweat just seeing that. I'm not a mountain climber or a rock climber, and frankly, the idea of hanging off the edge of something like that terrifies me. And that's putting it very mildly. So this is what it feels like, though. This is what the risk feels like when we're actually going to reveal something or put something out there that's deeply important to us, and we're not sure how it's going to be taken. What makes it worth doing that? Depending on what the gift or talent is, one thing is that there are high stakes involved in the situation, and there is a serious need for whatever it is that we can bring to this. And because we have that, we might feel called to step up and give it when there's a serious need. And if it's important enough, we take the risk and step in there. And oftentimes when that happens, that's a very useful thing that we have done. So it is worth the risk to do that. Sometimes the risk becomes small in comparison to the passion that we have for whatever it is. There's an irresistible need, feeling, desire to express that. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, wrote, "When life created us, it gave us two great endowments of God, the two highest gifts of heaven, love and creativity. Love, so that we may have confidence in life, a sense of security and peace and joy in living, and creativity, so that we can really live as persons and express ourselves individually." So there's purpose to all of that. There's a reason why we feel that. And then sometimes we get pressure from other people to do it. We might have shared it with one person who's close to us, and they're pressuring us to do it or encouraging us. Maybe several people are encouraging us. And it's the pressure or the encouragement that makes us feel that passion even more, or that desire to go ahead and do it. And that can overcome the risk sometimes. Sometimes it's early success. We've done really well at putting some small things out there. We've done really well. And that will encourage us to try a little more and go a little further. So if we have early acceptance, it encourages us to do more. When we're little kids, If our parents let us explore and experiment when we're small in areas that are somewhat safer than others, and it goes well for us, then we feel encouraged to try more. We feel encouraged that we can do it. And so somebody else's encouragement and successfulness will help us. And also, when we get the feedback that our gifts are worthy, that they're valuable, that whatever we tried actually worked, when we get that evidence and we see that value for ourselves, and we feel how good it feels to put that forward, then we're more likely to do it again because we feel safer with the whole thing. Deepak Chopra said, everyone has a purpose in life, a unique gift or special talent to give to others. And when we blend this talent with service to others, we experience the ecstasy and exaltation of our own spirit, which is the ultimate goal of all goals. Now, I want to put a caveat in there because sometimes we're used to a particular gift we have, and we think we see a place where that's needed. And we want to go and give that as a service, but it isn't particularly recognized or welcomed in that place. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't be welcomed in some other situation. However, it may be that the universe is telling us this isn't the place to give that particular gift. You can still serve in this place, but not with that. Maybe you have another gift to give. Maybe you have a gift you haven't yet discovered that's for that place. So you don't have to give up, but look at where you're serving with that particular thing or idea. Does that make sense? Yes? So when we take a risk, then amazing things start to happen. Once we begin using the gifts we've received. Now, this is Woodstock in 1969. That is 500,000 people at that concert. And you can see some are still arriving on the street over here and back up over there. Can you imagine? You're not only in another zip code, you're in another country if you're at the back of that group listening. And so when we begin to give our gifts, then new things get revealed. So for this situation, others validate the value of what we've given. And the interesting thing is, over the course of my adult life now, I've actually known 2 people who were at Woodstock, which I find astounding that they're still walking around. And I can't imagine where they would have been in that crowd of people who were there. For this particular group I'm going to show you in just a second, Woodstock, and they were playing, I think, at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday morning during Woodstock. This was only the second time these guys had ever played together in public. All of them had been in another successful band, but here they are playing for 500,000 people. This is Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. This is the second time they were in front of people together. Think of that. How much could you possibly have practiced and rehearsed together? Even if you did this once before, who is ready for 500,000 people listening to them? And so what happens when you go ahead and do that is you get a direct experience of the power of the gift you have to give. Imagine 500,000 people responding with enthusiasm to anything that you said or did or sang or presented. It would be amazing as an energetic experience to have that. And then when we begin to recognize that we have something of value to give, because we might doubt it, then we might believe it, then we might deny it, or we might exaggerate it. All of those things are possible when this is swirling around you. But you've tapped into something. And when you tap into something, then you become more. So whatever you were given, whatever that gift was that you brought forth to give, in the giving it expands, and so do you. And as you become more, you become empowered to create more and to give more. So in the giving is the very fertilizer and water and sunshine that nurtures that whatever it was that you gave. It not only makes you more likely to do it again, it takes you deeper into that. It reveals more. You become more. You create more. You experience more. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus says, "Give, and it will be given unto you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." So in other words, you're the governor. We're the governor for how much we let into our lives. Whatever we use to give out our gifts, whatever amount we're willing to give out, however fully or meagerly we're willing to give, that's how much our capacity is. It's not that God goes, "Oh, this is a transactional relationship here. You did that, so I'll give you that much back." It's not that. What it is the measure that we give from is the size of the capacity that we have. If we stretch that out and give more, then the capacity we have to receive, to refill that space, increases. Does this make sense? So the more we choose, the more the universe responds, because we've made a bigger space. That's all. It's just an automatic reaction. It isn't somebody ticking off a box while they're watching us. That's important to understand. So Holmes goes on to say, "If you learn to think of life as flowing through your every action, you'll soon discover that the things you give your attention to are quickened with new energy, for you are breathing the very essence of being into them." And Reverend Ron Burt, who was in DuPage, Illinois, gave a talk many, many years ago. Like Reverend Sarah, he was a student of Dr. Carlton Whitehead's in Illinois. And I believe that this comes from a talk of Don's that Sarah actually transcribed. He said this: "What gift haven't I shared? How could I give that would be a blessing? Whenever I go through that process, the idea of me gets bigger. And when I give it, my life in the outer gets bigger. I want to give more value. Could I find more things in me that are as yet unexplored and unshared that might be a blessing with my world?" A natural reflection of our growing inside is growing outside. So using our gifts is a blessing everywhere we look at it. Everyone we come in contact with, if we're using our gifts, even people that we happen to ride in an elevator with where we never exchange a word, we are exuding something that the vibration of it can lift them up. Because, of course, we're all connected. So they're receiving our vibrations just as we're receiving theirs. And there is a chance, if we're strongly in ourselves in that place, there is a chance that ours becomes contagious to them just by being around us. And that's better than if a depressed person gets into the elevator and we're feeling kind of blah, so we catch their energy, you see. We'd rather be a blessing than jump into the pit with somebody. Because once you're down in there, you can't really help them either. But when we're up above, in a space of wholeness, then our vibration can also lift theirs and lift them. I want to share this little story with you about giving the gift you have in the moment, even when there may not be a whole lot left to give. The 92-year-old, petite, well-poised, and proud lady who was fully dressed each morning by 8 o'clock with her hair fastidiously coiffed, makeup perfectly applied, even though she was legally blind, when she moved to a nursing home, Her husband of 70 years had recently passed away, making the move necessary. And after many hours of waiting patiently in the lobby of the nursing home, she smiled sweetly when she was told her room was ready. As she maneuvered her walker to the elevator, I provided a visual description of her tiny room, including the eyelet sheets that had been hung on her window. "I love it," she stated with the enthusiasm of an 8-year-old having just been presented with a new puppy. "Mrs. Jones, you haven't even seen the room yet. Just wait." "That doesn't have anything to do with it," she replied. "Happiness is something you decide on ahead of time. Whether I like my room or not doesn't depend on how the furniture is arranged. It's how I arrange my mind. I've already decided to love it. It's a decision I make every morning when I wake up. I have a choice. I can spend the day in bed recounting the difficulty I have with parts of my body that no longer work, or I can get out of bed and be thankful for the ones that do. Every day is a gift, and as long as my eyes open, I'll focus on the new day and all the happy memories I've stored away for just this time in my life." She went on to explain, "Old age is like a bank account. You withdraw from it what you've put in. So my advice would be to deposit a lot of happiness into your bank of memories. Thank you for your part in filling in my memory book. I'm still making deposits." And with a smile, she said, "Remember, there are 5 simple rules to be happy. 1, free your heart from hatred. 2, free your mind from worries. 3, live simply. 4, give more. 5, expect less." And what a gift it is to have somebody in the world who is actually able to give that kind of a gift at a time and place in her life when it might have been assumed she was just going to get parked somewhere and meals given to her occasionally. Instead, she was giving forth the flowers of her being in life to everybody around her. And what a gift that was. She recognized that maybe the gifts she had had earlier in her life were not available anymore, but she still had plenty she could share and give that would gift other people. And so do we. So what are we waiting for? Let's give more. Namaste. Thank you. Now let's take a moment to anchor this inside ourselves in prayer. So as we go within, just take a breath and feel your feet on the floor. In this moment, each one of us here is awake and present and aware. And all we are and all that's around us and all we can be is God. We are the manifestation of that one presence. So all of what we know and all of what we don't know is safe. We are safe in this divine beingness, and love is the most important message. It is given to us with great abandon, in as much abundance as we can receive, and so we do stretch to receive it now. We give forth in this very morning gifts of love, gifts of attention, gifts of friendship to each other. And we, in this process, open to greater gifts from the universe of love, of listening, of attention, of friendship, because the space of receptivity is a little bit bigger. And we're so grateful to know this and to consciously put this into use, expanding who we are and creating more love in the process. So with gratitude, we welcome this into our lives, and we send this prayer into the creative law of mind and spirit, where it is acted upon and brought into form and being and experience. And we let it go into the heart of God, where it has always been the truth from the very beginning. We let it go and let it be. And together we say, and so it is. us. Please stand and join me in the morning's affirmation now. As we say together, today I set aside all false humility and reluctance to see my own gifts. I'm grateful to be carrying these gifts, and I use them wisely and generously to benefit all. I'm willing to be seen and to contribute, and so it is. Thanks. You may be seated. And so I want to invite our ushers to come forward this morning as we prepare to receive the sacred offering. You know, our own founder of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, Dr. Lloyd Tupper, often says that all of the substance that there is, including what we own, is really God's. It's on loan to us, and we are given complete freedom to be divine distributors of that in whatever way we choose, to use, to enjoy, to share, to celebrate, however we want to do it. So when we want to give forth to empower something like Golden Gate, it's a wonderful thing to bless it in advance and do that. For those of you that are online and those of you that are here in the room, if you want to text an offering for Golden Gate this morning, and we would love that, the number is here on the screen. And for all those of you that give automatically and it comes out of your bank account, remember to pay attention every Sunday to bless those automatic gifts that are coming to Golden Gate, just as we bless what we're receiving, because every one of those gifts matters, even if you're not writing a check in the room at the moment and giving it. So we don't want to go unconscious about what we're giving just because it's happening automatically. We want to bless the bank for giving us the opportunity to make sure we can give regularly. But we also want to bless those gifts as we send them out. So if you're giving a gift in the room this morning, you can hold it near your heart or hold it in your hands with a loved one if you're giving it together. And we will bless the offering together by saying this. This gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it is creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Go ahead.
In this time and in this place is the grace to love. With these hands and with this heart, I can start to love, to love, to love, to love. I've been bruised and I've been burned. Still I yearn to love. So I'll forgive and I'll forget, pay my debt to love, to love, to love, to love. Because love is all there is, ever was and will be. I may win and I may lose, still I'll choose to love. I may stand and I may fall, still I will give all to love, to love, to love, to love, to love.
So, on behalf of Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, we do, all of us here, accept these gifts, and we send them out into the world to empower people to recognize their own gifts and be strong and share them. And so it is. All right. So, if you are with us for the very first time this morning, I want to draw your attention to the table right back at the back there, where Galen is holding up the blue card. If you're here for the first time, we have welcome packets at that table, and inside you'll find a blue card. That's not all, but you'll find the blue card. And if you fill out the welcome card and give it to Galen, she's going to give you a little book as a gift. This is our thank you to you for coming this morning. And it's also a good inspirational tool that's little. You can carry it around with you. And it's an invitation also to come back and be with us often in the future. We'd love to make you part of our spiritual family. I want to take in a moment especially to thank everybody who came in early to set up and prepare for the day so that we could have this wonderful experience together looking like it was all ready for us when we walked in the door. And we want to express our gratitude for that. So let's acknowledge all of those folks who did that for us this morning. I am getting ready to teach a summer class, Exploring the Roots of Science of Mind. It begins July 11th. It will be in the evenings, 10 Tuesday evenings on Zoom from 6 to 9 p.m. So if you really want to come in your bunny slippers, nobody will know. And you're perfectly welcome to do that. If you would like to, there is a prerequisite for this class, which is foundations. If you've taken foundations, though, you're eligible for this class, which lets you learn about the people who influenced Ernest Holmes and how he got the ideas he got that he put together into the science of mind. Each one of the three authors that we will study had a very specific influence on him, and they're very different from each other. So Emerson, as you know, who was a philosopher, Thomas Troward, who was a mathematician and a linear thinker and a scientist, and Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was a mystic. So the three of them, who are very different in their writing, all influenced him profoundly. So I encourage you to consider that. You can sign up for it on the back table here. If you know already that you want to do it, you can register on the website under the classes and events tab. You'll find a place to register for the upcoming class. Also, I want you to save the date July 23rd, we're going to have a summer potluck picnic right here in the park. And there will be sign-up sheets for what you want to bring for the potluck starting next week. It'll follow the Sunday morning celebration, so you don't need to go home. But if you're bringing something that needs to be refrigerated, keep it in a cooler or something like that. And we will have a jolly time, and hopefully it will be above 60 that day by the time we get to that point in July. Fingers crossed, yeah. We look forward to that possibility. Also, I just want to remind you, every Wednesday we have our evening meditation on Zoom at 7:15. This week it will be guided meditation. I'm always reaching for it on Sunday. Very often on Sunday I announce the wrong one, so it could be a surprise when you get there, but that wasn't intentional. I think this Wednesday is guided meditation. Come and join us. It's one of the easy ones. You just come and focus. That's all you have to do, and we would love to have you. Also, I want to let you know that Karen Drucker is going to be doing a workshop event with Rachel Naomi Remen at CCC in Tiburon on July 8th. I can't remember the time, but you can look on her website if you want to find out more about that. Rachel Naomi Remen is 85 now, and she's not really doing these anymore. So it's an opportunity to experience Karen and to meet Rachel in a more intimate setting up at CCC if you feel inclined to do that. And I'm not sure what the cost is or the time. Like I said, I know Karen told me, but I don't remember. So just tuck that away because that's coming up. Now, I want to invite the practitioners to surround the room. Remember, the opportunity for prayer requests is available to you in multiple ways. Online from the website, at the prayer request box over here on the practitioner table, or from the practitioners sitting at the table on Sunday who are there not only to hold consciousness during our Sunday celebration, but also to be available if you would like prayer following the service. And they'll take you to a private place, one-on-one, and one of them will pray with you. So this morning, as we are enfolded in this prayer from all of us together, we're going to do what we call a chamber of prayer, where I and all of the practitioners together will be praying out loud. So you'll get a wash of prayer over you and just let it in. So we begin together. And so it is. Please stand and join us now for the closing blessing and song. So we speak this blessing together. I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God, and whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness, for spirit and all people and I are one eternally, and so it is. And here we go with Nathan.
Thanks very much, everyone, for being here this morning. I'd like to take us out with a funky up-tempo version of Use Me by Ricky Byers.
And this is quick. Get ready.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think that God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars, or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all of creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.